Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a review of the Wharfedale Super Linton Speakers. I've had them in my music room for quite a while now. I've been listening to all different genres of music. I want to share with you what I like, the pros and cons, just everything and my impressions of these Wharfedale Super Linton speakers. I will leave a link below so that you can check out all of the specifications and the details of the Wharfedale Super Linton speakers, and in the description of my video I will list all of the gear that I was listening to while listening to these Super Linton speakers. So the Wharfedale company has been making speakers for an extremely long time, and a very popular choice has been the Wharfedale Linton speakers. So they have created an upgraded version called the Super Linton speakers. I want to share with you what makes these upgrades or what's so important and great about the Super Linton speakers, and talk to you about the price difference here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and talk now about what is upgraded, what's changed. For one, they upgraded the cabinet design, and they also enhanced the bass to treble drivers. And something that's important but maybe not as exciting but huge for these speakers is that they have a better crossover network. So I think that's really important. These Wharfedale Super Linton speakers are priced at $2,699, and to get the stands with them is an additional $300, bringing the total to $2,999 as of June 2025. And this is just my opinion, but if you are interested in buying the Super Linton speakers, I think you should go for it and get the stands with them, because they coordinate beautifully with the speakers. And I think Wharfedale, they made them at the right height for these speakers. They are the experts. They're the ones who designed the speakers, and the stands should be at the right height, in my opinion. If you have other stands that you'd rather use and save the $300, that's your prerogative, and I totally understand it. But these Wharfedale stands are gorgeous, and I think they're a great height and the ideal height for these speakers. So also they come in a great variety. You can get a black oak, you can get a mahogany, a walnut. I like the woods. That's my personal preference as well, because I think they add to a vintagey vibe that I really love. But black is a classic, so you really can't go wrong with the black speakers. Now, these speakers are a three-way speaker. They have an 8-inch Kevlar woofer, a 5-inch mid-range driver, and a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. The Super Lintons have a 90 decibel sensitivity, and they are recommended, if you are, getting the Super Lintons, the recommended amp would be anywhere between 20 to 200 watts. These have a frequency response of 39 hertz to 20 kilohertz, with a bass extension all the way down to 32 hertz. So that's another upgrade, something really cool. And these are substantial speakers. They're not huge, but they weigh a hefty 44 pounds each. They would be wonderful in a small or a medium-sized music room. So another thing about these speakers, Wharfedale recommends that you leave the grills on front. And I know with a lot of speakers, I like how the grills, when they're been removed, I like how that looks better. But with these, they're recommended to leave the grills on. And what's really interesting and different, in my opinion, I actually like the way they look with the grills on better, especially if you have the stands. They coordinate beautifully. So that's something to keep in mind. But of course, if you buy these speakers and you want the grills off, that's your prerogative. You could do whatever you want to. But they do recommend you leave the grills on. I would say, as far as the sound overall, when it comes to these speakers, they're very neutral. They added no colorization at all, no coloration. When I first got them, I took notes of what I thought about them. I immediately, when I started listening to them, I wrote that they were very relaxed and laid back. As time went on and I started listening to them more and more, I would say, instead of describing them that way, I would say they're effortless. They were able to play anything I put on my turntable, heavy rock. I love jazz. I even love that yacht rock, that mellow 70s rocks. I love everything, you guys, and I played it all. And they took everything I dished out and played beautifully, effortlessly. I think there is a very sweet mid-range with these speakers. I noticed a large sound stage. I think the imaging is great. When I'm listening to bands, I could close my eyes and imagine where each member is standing and playing. I think that they have great highs that didn't get harsh. I'd say the strongest point I would make about these speakers is I never got ear fatigue. I didn't hear a lot of brightness. There was nothing harsh. They sounded really, really pure, pristine. They were just a really great speaker. If I had one con about them, sound-wise, I would say they're not as exciting as maybe some of the other speakers I've listened to. But they do have a great pure sound and they're able to play all types of music. And I want to talk to you about some of that music right now because I have 3 different records that I think are really great examples of where I think these Wharfedale Super Lintons really shine. So let's go ahead and talk about the first one. And I've talked about this a little bit on my channel recently, but this is a great new release. This is the one step of Fair Warning by Van Halen. This is a mobile fidelity 45 RPM record, remastered, I should say, by Krieg Wunderlich. And of course, mobile fidelity gets a lot of credit of why this sounds so great. This so far, out of all of the Van Halen one-steps that have put out, this one's my favorite. It is a huge standout. And I think the Super Lintons really did a great job, along with the mobile fidelity record, of just giving me this amazing listening experience and hearing that album that I've heard a million times in a new light and something so enjoyable. So when the song Mean Streets really kicks in with the drums and that bass, that was an eye-opening moment. It's like, wow, these speakers and my REL S510s, they work really beautifully together. And I really loved the way the drums sound. Alex's drums are incredible. Let's take an example, the song Unchained, probably the most popular off of the album Fair Warning. There are these drums that they just pan. The drum fills go back and forth into the room. There were cymbal details that I'd never heard before. I just think the drums sound so amazing on this record and through those Super Linton speakers. I also thought Eddie's guitar playing was superb, and I heard details I'd never heard before. I felt like I was getting closer to the artist and his guitar playing. I could hear his guitar plucks. I could hear the work. It was just a really incredible experience, as well as here's where that imaging comes in. Dave Lee Roth's Dead Center. He has a really cool character in his voice that is totally captured beautifully on here. And I love the interplay when he's talking on the song Unchained. It's just so good. The harmonies, everything about it. This wonderful soundstage. I've never heard Fair Warning sound so good. And of course, yes, mobile fidelity gets a lot of the credit, but my stereo equipment and these Super Lintons really delivered to me as well. So that's worth mentioning. And you know what? Not every record I own, in fact, most of them I own, are not audiophile records. So I need my stereo equipment to deliver every time I play a record. No matter what it is, no matter how much I pay for it. They all need to sound great and bring me something special. So with that in mind, here's another record that I thought was truly wonderful. This is a reissue from the Elemental Music label. They are not an audiophile company, but they do bring out great music on 100% pure vinyl. So I'm not getting a lot of noise. But again, I believe a lot of the records that they put out are a digital source. Maybe not all of them, but this is Further Conversations with Myself by Bill Evans. I'm a jazz person as well as a rocker, and this sounds so beautiful. The piano playing sounded so incredible. That is where this pure, clean sound really shines on the Wharfedale Super Lintons and delivered for me with this wonderful performance. You know, this isn't an expensive record, but it really is great, and you need every record to sound really good. And if your stereo equipment isn't delivering on that, that's kind of a letdown. So I really thought this sounded absolutely beautiful. The sound stage, you can hear where every musician is playing, and it was just a wonderful performance. And here's another one. This is in a bargain bin everywhere you go, and yet it's such an incredible record. It's really old. It is an analog recording. It's a very old recording. This one is on that 6i Columbia label. This is Ellington's Indigos. Such a relaxing, beautiful record. And the Super Lintons really brought this beautiful, incredible sound of all of the instruments and the piano playing. This is one of my favorites. This is probably my favorite Duke Ellington record. And it just absolutely sounded so beautiful, such a standout for me, a magical experience with these Wharfedale Super Linton speakers. So they're extremely good speakers. If you are in the market to buy speakers and $3,000 price point is something you're considering, you really need to, in my opinion, take a look at these speakers. There's a lot to offer, and they were really great. So I really appreciate having the experience of listening to the Wharfedale Super Linton speakers. They are worth considering if you are in the market for speakers. And so I'm just so appreciative to have had that experience. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.